Hello and welcome to Sport for Business, where today we are talking about the launch of the Federation of Irish Sport Volunteer in Sport Awards with EBS. We're joined, and with great pride, we're joined by Aidan Walsh, Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo, and first of all from his father Damian, who is the epitome of a volunteer in sport. You're very welcome to Sport for Business, lads.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
We heard in the aftermath of Aidan's Olympic odyssey, Damian, about the fact that you are a volunteer in the club, that it was you who brought him down. Was he kicking and screaming that you brought him down, or was he a very willing participant?
He was a child that was very easygoing, and at that time I was in St Agnes's Boxing Club, and the head coach of the boxing club, I asked him, could I bring the youngster down, being Aidan? And he at that time was 7 years of age. So he said, absolutely, bring Aidan down. And I said, Aidan, if you like, I'm going down to the gym. If you want to come, you're more than welcome. So Aidan just grabbed his runners, his shorts, his top, and eagerly came down with me in the car and joined in. So he sort of latched onto it fairly easily without any pressure or anything else. It was quite easy going. It wasn't a case of basically, hurry up, get you down, I want you to be a boxer and I want you to do this and do that. Aidan came down at his own leisure, and it has always been like that. For me as a volunteer, my sort of rule of thumb was the training starts at this time, and if you're in the car, I take you down, and if you're not, I'm not going to run around the street looking for you. So basically, he wanted to do it himself. So there's really no pressure on him to do that.
And was it a fairly full car? Because Michaela, obviously, your daughter has been involved as well, and again, brilliantly performing out in Tokyo. So were all three of you sort of setting off at the same time to head down?
Well, basically, for the training itself, training at home, yeah. Well, basically, the three of us just always got into the car and made our way to the gym, and basically went through all the motions of what most clubs do, in terms of getting everything ready and getting kids all hyped up and getting ready to do the warm-up and do everything else. But Michaela latched on very, very quickly to the training. The two of them were a dream to train, and a lot of people say that they're a pleasure to train with. And I think at the end of the day, it was just that initially early training sort of structures that I would have maybe had in place sort of stuck with them right through their whole career. And just the way they approach training and how we approach. So I think you need to really have a positive vibe about yourself, and how you open up the door and you get in and you welcome all the kids, and how you're all keeping and everybody well, and how's everybody going, what about your mum, what about your dad, and how's you doing, and they all sort of latch on. And once you sort of get a good positive response back from the kids, then you can kick the training off. So it makes it quite easy if you try to have a bubbly personality, and helping the kids sort of get into the vibe and get them in training with you, you know. So I've always enjoyed it, and will continue to enjoy being a volunteer in sport, because at the end of the day, you know, as a volunteer, you sacrifice a lot yourself, i.e. from your family. You know, is your wife at home, or had you a wee job, had you that fence to build, had you that hedge to cut? No, I have to get down to the gym here. I have 20 kids waiting at the door. So it was always that kind of way. So I've always enjoyed it, loved it, and I still do. Love it to this very, very day, and will continue to do so.
Of course, it's always done for the benefit of the kids and never just to escape those jobs at home. That's absolutely a given. Yeah. I get that. Aidan, what were your own first memories of that? Because 7 is very young to be getting involved. Everything is new in the world, everything is exciting. You're heading off with Dad now to see what he's doing in all of that time that he was jumping out and getting down to the gym. How do you remember those early days?
Oh, it was amazing, because obviously my dad boxed when he was younger, and that was the gym that he brought me to, the gym that he had boxed in. So when you're hearing things about boxing, you automatically always, obviously you're quite young then, but you always just picture like Rocky, the gyms and the sort of, and St Agnes's Boxing Club, that was sort of, it was like a sort of gym that was had that sort of atmosphere. And I think it was the atmosphere that actually made me realize, like, I love this when I was young. Maybe not myself saying that, but looking back, maybe that's what drew me to stay there. Because I remember the gym was that cold one time, and you just used to sweat. You could see the heat coming off your body, the sweat and the heat. It was just something that you see in movies, and I think that's what maybe drew me to it. And you went in, you seen the guys sparring, and obviously Michaela there training, and it was just like sort of a family effect in a boxing gym. And I think that that sort of pulled us together. And then obviously having my dad there as a coach and as a volunteer, then obviously other volunteers too. But not even only that, it was taking me off the streets also. And it was taking any friends that I was saying maybe come down to the gym and see us, and they were coming down. It was taking them off the streets. And then obviously parents in the street knew where their kids were. They weren't out running about the streets. They were at the boxing gym with Damian across the road. And it just went from there, really. So I think even my dad, he probably doesn't realize the impact he's had on kids over the years, and the commitment that he's given the kids in the street and in the area. And it's great.
It's nice when the young ones that you've trained recognize you in the street and say hello. It's probably even nicer when you can produce an Olympic silver medalist in the out of the club and in the family as well. You are joining a very exclusive club now, and the pressure on you to actually sort of share that story with the young kids and to inspire the next generation, is that something that sits comfortably with you, Aidan?
Of course, like I when I was younger, I always had very positive role models. Always role models that were in the sport, that were doing great things in life. And now I'm sort of up near enough at level 2 that I'm on a bit of a platform that I can help young kids in my area have someone to look forward to. And I think it's always very important to be a nice person, to be respectful, and to help people. As Muhammad Ali says, that what you do for others is the rent you pay in this earth, and it's how you help other people. What good is it if you've got all this success and you can't help someone else to have the same thing? So I think, and I obviously get that from my dad as well, obviously being a volunteer, helping out. And I think that's why the Volunteers in Sports Award for this year is a massive part for us, because we can really, really relate to it and see the benefits that volunteers have in the community.
It really is. And it's also something that I think it's peculiarly Irish, that we don't want to actually put our hands up. You do it because you love doing it and you see the outcomes and all the rest of it. But the idea of actually sort of, somebody recognizing you for just doing what you do can sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable. But the purpose of the awards is to really encourage people to actually get out there and do that. In terms of that sort of notion of volunteering, have you found, Damian, that post the Olympics now, as well as it was back in the day and over the last number of Olympics, we see the stories and we see the extra number of kids that are coming in? Do you get more people that are willing to step back in, having perhaps boxed when they were younger or taken part in other sports, to actually volunteer as coaches, and they want to learn themselves?
Well, I believe, like, when people, it comes from your personal self. I think at the end of the day, if you have a desire yourself to go out there and help people and encourage people to come along and say, do you want to get involved in sport and be a volunteer? Not only does it benefit the people, obviously, who you're helping out, but it also benefits you as a person. I mean, I've built up a lot of my own experience has just been by trial and error. I've developed my personality. I've developed my relationships with youngsters, but it's been through trial and error. I mean, I can read children when they come into the gym, have had a bad day, and they're not in good form. Maybe something's happened at home, something's happened at school, and I've tried to sort of read between the lines before we get in, and we try to encourage mostly, if you can get your parents involved. If your dad fancies coming down and being a volunteer, he's more than welcome. And I would be the first to help out and say, listen, this is how I started, this is how I developed, and this is how I pursue my ambition to be a volunteer. So if you're more than willing to come along the same lines that I have, I'm there to help you. But at the end of the day, it's something that's in you. I always wanted to help kids, but by the same token, I wanted to help my own kids as well. And it was great to be in the gym, and I love to see other fathers coming down, because a lot of fathers don't be there, and the kids come down, they probably never get to see their parents. They'll say, what about mum, what about dad, would they fancy coming down? And if they need to come down, we have a keep fit section onto the gym. The fathers and mothers could come down and join in the other part of the gym and maybe come in and watch their kids, because it's only through the likes of myself and other volunteers that we can encourage the country to get active, get involved, and it helps your physical health and helps your mental health. I said, because your dad probably working all day, your mum's working all day, and there's no bigger buzz than coming back home, having your dinner, And I'm being honest here, when you put your backside into that settee, it's very hard to get back up again and get back out. And sometimes, Dad, you ready to go here? Yes, I'm coming now. I'm getting my shorts, I'm getting that. I'm after a hard day's work. So I work from 8 to 5, so I'm straight home, I get my dinner, get my shorts on, and I'm sure that is likewise for every volunteer in Ireland that does that as well. So I would encourage anybody, parents, uncles, aunts, get involved and come along, see your kids and see other kids. And I'll tell you, there's no bigger reward to see the reward that I got. And that reward was Aidan standing on the podium, as likewise Michaela, who has stood in many podiums as well. Emotions high, emotions low, everything's just running around the edge of the plate, basically. But no, I've enjoyed every moment. But I would definitely encourage other people to come along, because there's no big payment in it other than the pleasure that you get from it.
We can't reveal the secret that we actually always get more out of it than we put in, especially when people ask, geez, how do you find the time to actually sort of do all of that? But we won't reveal as well the fact that it always starts with that. Could you fill the buckets there or put out the water bottles? It'll only be 5 minutes of your time, and then all of a sudden there's a lifetime in volunteering. Before I let you go, Aidan, both for yourself and Michaela, have you had a chance really to decompress after the games and to think of what the future is? Is Paris in 24 on the agenda?
Of course, obviously you get the Olympic Games and you say like, oh, can't wait for the downtime and stuff. But then after it's over, you're straight back obviously at it, and you're planning for the future. And obviously in business and life, it's a massive thing to obviously plan ahead. Who knows what the future holds? Nobody knows. But I think if you can plan and you can look ahead, it makes it a bit easier for what is to come. So obviously Paris 2024, the Commonwealth Games are next year. The World Championships are coming up. So there's a lot to keep me busy. Outside of boxing, I have a lot of things obviously too to keep me busy. I love fishing and stuff. I love kayaking and things that I picked up through COVID. Obviously when the boxing wasn't really on. So things like that. I have a lot of things going for me at the minute. I have a lot of options obviously in terms of outside of boxing. But boxing's my passion. Amateur boxing at the minute is my passion, and it's something obviously myself and Michaela have on our goals to qualify for Paris 2024.
That'll be brilliant. Well, you will have the support of the nation with you. We couldn't squeeze Michaela in, but please do give her our best wishes as well. So the what they ask today is that all of you who are watching this, that you know somebody, it might be you or it might be somebody else in your club, and we want you to put them forward. The excuse is that you could win €1,000 for your local club, but the reality is that we do want to recognise all of the great volunteers in sport, just like Damian and just like Aidan and Michaela undoubtedly will be. You can get all the details at volunteersinsport.ie or on the Federation of Irish Sport website. For the moment, Damian and Aidan, thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.